Okay, in this lecture we will discuss storekeeping, right? We know that it is an established fact that the cost of raw material and other stores constitute a major portion of investment in an industry. For efficient and economic utilization of capital, the importance of stores cannot be ignored. Proper utilization of materials results in large amount of saving. Proper storing avoids pilferage and wastage of materials, right? So we can define storekeeping that it is defined as a function of receiving, storing, and issuing of raw materials, tools, spares, consumables to the respective department, right? There are certain categories of stores. There can be the stores of raw material or consumable materials. There can be stores of inflammable materials like petrol, diesel, kerosene, tool stores, chemical stores, stores for stationery, foundry stores, stores of finished goods, right? And stores for empties and packages, right? Now, what is the objective of storekeeping, right? It is mentioned here, objectives to make available a balanced flow of raw materials, right? To maintain sufficient stock of materials to level out irregularities in purchasing, efficient utilization of space, provide easy location and quick identification of item, prevent any theft, damage, wastage or deterioration of stored items, right? It also adds flexibility to production schedules. It offsets delays in transportation, provide easy location and quick identification of item, right? These are the beauty of storekeeping, right? Now, there are certain duties assigned to storekeepers, right? The storekeepers are those who follow strictly these storekeeping objectives, right? Now, we will discuss. We will discuss here. It is types of store. Basically, in industries there are two types of store, right? And these two types of store are closed store and open stores, right? Where we use closed stores. In closed stores, items are stored in closed and controlled area. No other person except the store person is permitted to enter this closed stores, right? The materials enter or leave the storeroom only when accompanied with the authorized documents. Small and costly items that are easy to handle and liable to be cast are kept in these stores, right? But in case of open store, here material are stored as close to the point of use, right? And there is no specific storage area, right? Every individual has access to any storage facility. After the receipt of material, it is delivered to the respective department. Chances of theft is here high. Chances of damages or pilferages are high, right? And this type of stores are justifiable in fast-moving production where consumption is very high. For example, like iron ore industries, coke, limestone, sand, bricks industries, right? These open type of stores are used, right? Now we'll discuss organization of a store. Have a quick review on organization of stores, right? There is a store, central store superintendent or store official. Under store official, there are storekeepers, right? And storekeepers are they are storekeeper of raw material and also there is a storekeeper of, here will be storekeeper, because assistant storekeeper comes after storekeeper in charge, storekeeper of his stock. Then there will be assistant storekeeper of stock. Storekeeper of raw material is further categorized in raw materials, dealing raw materials, tools and equipments, stationery, right? Clear? Now, duties of storekeeping. Duties of storekeepers, there are three duties assigned, but there are so many. Duties of storekeeper is that there should be systematic planning of a store, right? And items in a store should be placed in such a way that their items can be easily located, right? Storekeepers should maintain record of materials along with their cost, and they should make the premises very clean, store premises very clean, right? Materials should be issued against authorized requisition. That means there should be a receipt for each issue of material, right? To keep up to date records of material, right? Plan and execute the stock checking activities from time to time so that no discrepancy occurs. Prevent leakage, theft, wastage, right? Provide efficient and effective service to the organization. Prevent unauthorized entry in stores. Arrange for periodically stock taking and stock verifications. Right? These are the duties which are assigned to storekeepers. Now, function of stores. We will discuss function of stores in detail. First, identification of material. Right? Identification of material. There are many methods used for identification of material. Right? There should be like we can tag some pieces of paper or cloth on the items by fixing labels on the items or painting color codings of items. Here assigning coding number. Clear? And coding, there are many methods for coding. There are many methods for the coding, like mnemonic method. In this method, we basically assign some sorts of alphabets closely associated with the name of item. Like if there are metallic items, then we can write MT, or plastic item, then we can write PT, right? And in most of the cases, scientific method is used, right? Where we assign numbers for particular function of the metal. Like if we decide 1, then right, if we decide 1, then this will be 1 will say it is metal, and second digit if we say 4, then it will show that it is type of metal, and third digit will basically define the shape of the metal, right? And additional digit will with decimal point may describe the size of metallic item, like, right? If we say here in identification of material, if we write that here 142.25, right? I'm taking the example when materials are identified, when materials are kept with the certain codes in the stores. Say it is assigned by storekeepers to a material, then what will it indicate? It indicates that brass round bar, right? Because I already said that first digit showing the metal, right? One is assigned to metal, and second digit will decide the type of metal, that is 4 stands for brass, and third digit will decide the shape, that is 2 will say that it is of circular cross section, a round bar, and additional digit will describe the size of metallic item, right? So 142.5 indicates brass round bar of 25 mm diameter, right? Brass round bar of 25 mm diameter, right? Same while we can go for location coding. If it make another digit like 3, Then 3140 will show that 142.25 code of 142.25 will be located at place 3, which is basically the third row, right? Now second is receipt. In case of receipt, right, we know that when materials or equipments are shipped by the supplier along with necessary documents, then a storekeeper must unload the goods and verifies the contents with the packing slip, right, and the purchase order. Before storing, these items are subjected to inspection or test and ensure that they are according to the required specification. This is the duty of storekeepers, which he must do, right? And this is done by goods. This is during receipt. Goods inward seat is basically utilized by storekeepers to maintain the to inspect and to verify the data for the materials, right? And third stage is storage of materials, right? There are certain principle of storing which must be adopted, like all the material must be identified, labeled and coded properly. When material codification is accompanied by location codes, it facilitates exact location of the material. All the bins, racks must have sign and tags attached to them, right? The storeroom should be divided into sections and materials belonging to particular class, right? So these are the storage of material. Basically deals with that properly store the material, that so that identification and issue and keeping of the materials can be placed easily, right? Next is the issue of material. This one is very important one. What is issue of material? Material should be issued by a storekeeper only on the presentation of an indent known as store's issue requisition, right? Store issue requisition. Clear? Nowadays companies are adopting store issue requisition slip or indents, right? If any department have the requirement of a certain material, then department will issue an material issue requisition to stores, and a store in charge, a storekeeper will issue the material to respected department, right? Then next is record keeping. This one is very important, right? Different types of record methods are adopted for separately recording the materials, like bin card, store record card, material transfer notes, material return notes, right? Inward and outward registers, stock registers, right? These are adopted. Clear? Now we will discuss centralized store and decentralized store. Nowadays most of the companies, right, these two types of stores are largely adopted. Centralized stores means, as very clear with the image block diagram, that each department is closely associated with a central store office, right? If a machine shop, there are different 4 shops, then they will demand, if they have the material requirement, they will demand their material requirement from a store office, right? There is a central store. Clear? But if industry is too large, then it will be and raw material requirement and other requirements are too high, then it will be very difficult to maintain a record at one place, because there will be the chances of leverage and theft or damages in the material, right? Then in that cases, in large industries, each department have their own store, so that they can easily require the material from their stores, right? So this is all about the storekeeping. And next lecture we will discuss inventory.